Welcome to Stay at Home Dads, a podcast.
With your hosts, Drew and Justin, a place where we talk about a lot of guy stuff.
And a little bit of dad stuff too. So kick back, relax, and let's talk.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to Stay at Home Dads. So today we are going to be talking about toy lines that we first really remember getting into as kids that really kind of stand out in our minds and that really meant something to us. So,
Right.
Oh, by the way, I'm Drew, and this is my co-host, Justin.
Hello.
And we are Stay at Home Dads. So
yes.
I will kick it off with you, buddy. So what was the first major kind of toy line that you recall really getting kind of obsessed with, like getting really into?
I'm gonna be that kid. I wasn't really into I had like Army Men and some G.I. Joes, but like through and through, I was like a Hot Wheels kid. Like Hot Wheels, Matchbox cars, like tiny little 1/64th scale, tiny little car. I don't understand it. I mean, it's just a tiny car. And I would look at them. I still look at them to this freaking day. I'll go to the toy line with my kid and let my kids look at toys. And I always cruise down the freaking Hot Wheels aisle. And
Dude, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I don't get it, but
like that wasn't my number one, but like that was definitely a part of my childhood. Like that was in my toy collection. And dude,
yeah.
do you remember Micro Machines?
Yeah.
Do you remember those little things?
Tiny, super like literal micro, tiny little they were maybe an inch long, tiny little car.
I had like a ton of those. Like I had like little Lambos. I had like little like jet fighters. Like they were amazing. I love those.
Yeah, I don't know what's with children's fascination with very tiny toys, tiny cars, but
dude, looking back now, like Micro Machines were a choking hazard. Like, can you imagine like how many toddlers probably like that's horrible to think about. But I'm just saying.
I don't even know if I don't know if that is even around anymore. Like
that
maybe that's why their demise was, little Freddy chewing on one and choking. So
and then you remember in Home Alone, Kevin from Home Alone actually used those as like a deterrent for the burglars. Like he put like little Micro Machines, like he placed them down like at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
So when they walked, they all freaking like slipped on the Micro Machines. Micro Machines was like, crap, there goes our business.
Right.
Kevin,
we're done. Yeah, just like the mom. But no, I had Hot Wheels. I had, I did have the little plastic Army Men. Mm-hmm. I had those. I don't even know what you do with those. You set them up out in your mom's garden outside, when you're 6 years old. I had those.
I had them too.
I had Tonka trucks. I had a lot of stuff with wheels, it fascinated me, I don't know.
Was there a certain like Hot Wheels line that you remember? Like I remember like some of them could change color in water. Like they had like a color.
Those. I had some of those. Yeah. I still have, dude. I'm 38 years old and I still have like a tote of Hot Wheels in my garage right now. And I've been saving them maybe for my kids to play with. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, but I still have them. Yeah.
They might, like, I'm not really sure what these things are worth. If they're like in mint condition, like they might be funding your children's college tuition. Like I'm not sure like if they're like worth anything yet. But dude,
they're probably not in mint condition, but I see where they have like Hot Wheels red lines and stuff like that are bringing like mint money,
right.
So
well,
you never know.
This brings me back to like this thought I keep having where when I was a little kid at one point, I collected Marvel trading cards. Like they were like the size of baseball cards, but I remember being obsessed with like Marvel trading cards.
Okay.
And I collected the entire line, and my dad even helped me because there was like these like hologram special ones that were like maybe like 10 of them. Like we actually had to go to like comic book shops around town to like find like my missing ones. And I had the complete collection in a nice binder. Everything was mint. I have no idea where it's at. I'm sure that it's in like a box in my dad's garage, like buried under like 5 tons of like crap. But
right.
I'm thinking to myself, that's gonna be like my payday. Like if I can find those.
It's time to drive to Iowa, go visit your old man, and say, hey, I'm gonna dig through your garage.
I've asked him probably every year for like 10 years now. He's like, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, could you find my Marvel card collection? Could you dig that up and send it to me? Because oh my god, if I had that, I don't know if I'd sell it. Like it'd be like
you'd be geeking out on it, dude.
So
like you'd
Yeah.
be geeking out. I mean, that's kind of funny though. Like you're into like Marvel and all that stuff now, like the movies
Mm-hmm.
and like, stuff like that. I see,
Mm-hmm.
you have your Batman cowl is DC, right?
No,
Is
it's DC.
Batman
Yep, it's
DC?
DC.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but still, I mean, it's that same kind of genre and that same kind of,
Yeah.
era, I guess.
Well, while you were cars, I was definitely superheroes. Like that
You
was
liked you were into action figures, right? Stuff
oh
like
yeah.
that.
Like most kids, like a lot of kids anyway, were into like football, like actual like real athletes. I was like
Mhm.
obsessed with like comic book characters, like the
Oh,
Flash, Batman, and like
oh, so you were you were a nerd. You were a legit nerd, huh?
What's weird though is yes, that's exactly who I was. But nowadays, like it's cool to be that guy, which is
Right.
crazy because it completely like flipped 180. Like I would have been made fun of for having comic books when I was like in middle school, but now like everybody's like, "Oh, it's freaking awesome."
Yeah,
You
it's like this new resurgence. It's like it's almost hip. Like it's like,
Mhm.
like it's trendy
Yeah.
to be into like this vintage like type of thing, I guess. I don't know.
Or
But
you'll see like girls on Instagram that are like claiming to be like nerdy and they've got like their little glasses on, but they're like like they're like reading their Spider-Man comic books and like they're trying to be like all, you know what I'm saying though?
right,
It's
they're
almost
trying
like
really,
they're
really
trying to
hard.
be nerdy is what it seems like. So, but
And then
yeah.
they turn their camera to their OnlyFans account and do other ungodly things. But yeah.
Yes, we won't speak of such matters. Not on Stay Home Dad's podcast. It's a family show.
Yes.
So my first obsession, yours was Hot Wheels. Um, okay, so the very first movie I ever saw in theaters was Return of the Jedi, and I want to say I was approximately 3 years old when that came out.
Oh wow.
I could be wrong on the
And
math,
you kind of somewhat remember this?
dude. Obsessed is like the word. Like after I saw, because that was my first like actual like movie experience,
Mhm.
and I hadn't seen like the first, that was like my first Star Wars. After that, I had like the bedspread. I had like all the toys that my parents would like allow me to get.
The
That was
backpack.
probably I don't remember. I know I had like weird sandals that probably had like He-Man on them or something, but yeah. Like, but yeah, okay, so that brings me back to okay, so the first two toy lines, you said yours was Hot Wheels.
Mhm.
Mine was definitely Masters of the Universe, He-Man, and also Star Wars Return of the Jedi specifically was like the toy line that was coming out. And I had Luke, I had Han, like I had R2D2, I had Chewbacca, like I had a bucket, like a literal like a bucket that was just filled with like the little action figures. So
Would you set them up? Would you set them up in like different scenarios and put weapons in their hands and
that was like a little older. Like when I got into GI Joe, I went through like this like obsession phase where like I would like set up like little fight scenes where like I'd have like
right?
Storm Shadow kicking someone in the face, and like I take a camera and I like literally get down and take a picture, and then my dad would like develop these pictures and it'd all be like GI Joes like kicking each other in the face was like the entire roll of like film.
He's
Look, these are awesome.
he's like
It's like
$15
he's
for
like $50.
pictures of GI Joes.
Like literally, it was all just like GI Joes like punching each other. Like it was awesome.
At the camera, yeah, like slashing each other with a weapon. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think I did that too. I had like speaking of taking pictures, I had like a model, some sort of model, because I was like when I got a little older, like 6, 7, 8, I got into like building plastic models of cars and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like setting them down in my living room and getting really low and really close and taking a
Mm-hmm.
picture like it was a real car. And
Right.
I remember having these photos like
Yeah.
even not that I don't want to say recent, but like within 10 years ago and seeing them again and being like, oh my God, I was such like a dork. Like this is ridiculous.
But
But
you know what, man? Like when you're like 8, 9 years old, like it's not dorky. Like that's cool at that age.
yeah.
Like, and I would show my friends. They'd come over. I'd be like, "Hey, check out these pictures." And like I'd have like Sergeant Slaughter kicking like somebody in the face, and like they're like, "Oh, that's awesome!" Like it wasn't weird. Now it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we look back and we're like, that's weird. I'm like, oh, here's a picture of my Ferrari, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like come on.
Oh, but I have to say, I have to bring this full circle. So my wife made a point today, like we were walking the dogs and I was like telling Pam, I was like, so Justin's first obsession with toys was Hot Wheels. He eventually went on to become a mechanic. And I'm like, my first obsession was Star Wars. And I went on to buy Lightsabers. Oh wait,
It's
why is it not working? Oh my god, we're gonna have to like cut that. I don't know why it's not working.
that's weird how that is though. Like, I mean, you say like, what you're into as a child, kind of helps you develop. So like, had my parents pushed me to some other facet, or had I been into like Barbie dolls and clothes, would I be in the fashion industry? Or you know what I mean? Or had I been into, oh, I don't know, like baseball cards, would I be, or I don't know. It kind of does, what you play with as a child does really shape kind of who you become in a way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's interesting you said that because He-Man was like the other big one, Masters of the Universe. And if you've ever seen the He-Man action figures, they're all like ridiculously buff, like bodybuilder type,
Right. Like
like
totally
physique.
like Arnold, like look. Yeah.
Yeah, like every muscle is like just ripped and bulging. And
Hmm.
I've definitely got into like fitness and trying to like bodybuild throughout my life where I've wanted big muscles. And I'm wondering how
Right.
much of that was influenced by, well, goddamn, He-Man's like like
Right.
or you know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
a
And it's in, and that's funny how like that was almost like an idol, like He-Man or, Schwarzenegger or whatever. And that makes us want to be buff, like, and
mm-hmm,
then you have girls that see like Barbie, a Barbie doll,
mm-hmm.
and they want to be tall and thin and, have big boobs or whatever. I don't know.
Perfect,
But,
perfect,
it's,
yeah,
yeah,
perfect hair
perfect
and
straight
makeup and
hair and makeup.
yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how these things, it's quite subconsciously even,
Mm-hmm.
like we don't necessarily realize it's happening, and it's
Yeah.
happening, it's pretty subliminal, I guess.
Well, I really like the way you just took that I like that point you made because it makes me realize that okay, for instance, I got really obsessed with like GI Joe at one point, and then I got into like Rambo, and then all of a sudden like I had like this fantasy of wanting to be a soldier. Well,
Mm.
when I was 17, signed up for the army, went off and played GI Joe in real life, and then it got
Right.
real fast and like real scary. And I'm wondering like how much of that was like propaganda, um, like go Joe, real American
Mm.
hero, like,
Right.
and you're just like this badass that's like shooting like guns, like,
That is a good point. Like even GI Joe's, like, I mean, if you take out some of like the King Cobra, plot lines and stuff, but still they are, which is fine. Like I have all the respect for you and military and everything else, but like how they really idolize, like, or make like being in the military or being a soldier, like this is what you want to do, this is fun, this is exciting,
yeah.
whatever, which sure, for some people, sure it is, but
Hmm.
there's a reality of death there, and
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of other adverse things that aren't really talked about, so
Yeah, we should get into like army life. That could be like a whole nother show because I've
that'd
got
be good. Yeah.
stories. Like I should tell you like how it was from my experience in there, but I have to say it was nothing like GI Joe. You know, it was
Right.
nothing like
Yeah,
GI
like
Joe.
move these
So
power lines away from the
oh,
road so you don't shock anyone.
dig this freaking foxhole, like dig dirt like all day. Like it's just like oh my god. But
What do
yeah,
you think
man.
kids are going to be like our kids, like what, like I just had a thought, like what are our kids going to say, like my favorite toy was the
Oh, the butt.
iPad, like, you know what I mean, like my daughter would be like, oh, what's your favorite toy, Olivia?
Yeah.
The iPad. And be like, oh god, like, I don't know if she'd say that. I'm going to do a test and I'm going to ask her, like, in the next few days, and I'll come back and I'll see what she says, but
So you're a little ahead of me, like on the whole female toy line for girls.
mhm.
Is there like God, I'm gonna bring up like Barbie and Bratz is all I can think of for like or My Little Pony for
Mhm.
little girls. Is there like stuff like that she's into, or is she like
Yeah,
all into
she's
like
she's into, the funny thing is kids, I mean, I let both of them, I've got two, I let them run around, like they're really good at like stores and stuff. So we can go into a store and I just say, "Hey, we're not buying any toys. We're just going to look, we're just going to
mhm.
have fun and like check out new toys and stuff, and then we're going to leave. We're not buying anything." And
What
they
are they into?
understand that.
What do they
And
like?
they'll go, they a lot of Barbie stuff, a lot of games, Barbies, Play-Doh, um Legos are like, that's another huge one that hadn't even touched on yet.
Lego.
Legos was like a huge thing
Oh
in my
my
childhood,
God.
like
I'm right there
huge.
with you.
So,
I'm right there with you. And
and they're into
I
that. They literally played Legos for like 2 hours just
now,
today and yesterday and the day before. Like, we have sets upon sets, and
yep.
me and my wife will like package them in a bag so the pieces all kind of stay together.
Mhm.
And then they're like, "Hey, I want to play with Legos." And then we say, "Okay, what do you want? Do you want an Elsa castle? Do you want a Olivia's Playhouse? Do you want a Jurassic World set?" Because we have like a rundown, and they'll pick one, and I pull it out, and we open it up, and they play with it for hours and put it away.
Now, when you were a kid, were you all about like following like the instructions and actually creating like what it's supposed to be, or did you like to like freestyle Lego build, where like you just have like a bucket and like you're just like, what can I make, and like you just
See,
like,
when I was a kid, I remember like I don't distinctly remember having certain sets. Like, I don't
hmm
remember having like a Star Wars set, or
hmm
I remember having like a bucket of like yellow blocks and blue blocks and like
hmm
green and red, and you just build whatever the heck you want to build.
heck yeah,
When I did have sets, I do remember like building the sets with my parents, but
yeah,
then the set wouldn't stay together very long.
right.
It would get disassembled and then tossed into like a bin with other things, and then you would never build it again. So
Especially if you had a little sibling who just loved to kind of throw your creations against the wall.
smash, gone.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You had a little sister, right?
Older. I'm the youngest,
Older.
so I had
Oh,
older
you were the
sisters. Yeah.
baby. Okay, so I had
Yeah.
like the little siblings that would like destroy my masterpieces. So I had to get real cool about not caring if they smashed my stuff.
Yeah. So it's Legos were like, I mean, and like even with the Hot Wheels, like today, like Legos, I think I probably am more into as an adult than anything else. Like, I'll go to the Lego aisle
hmm
and I see like the Lego City and the Harry Potter sets and the
Dude,
even like the more girl sets, like I look
mhm,
at all this stuff and I'm like, "Oh, check this out, check that," and
yeah,
it's fun. Like, it brings me back to a time. And
yeah.
then I have this like fantasy where I'm like, I want to build every one of these sets in like a room and like set up like a big diorama, like a big
hmm
village. And it's so
hmm
ridiculous, but
No, do it. You should do that. You should do that. Like I'm gonna use the excuse when my daughter Sophia's old enough that she wants to build the Millennium Falcon. So
there you
we're gonna
go.
have to buy the Millennium Falcon and build it because it's all her idea, not mine.
You'd be whispering that into her
Like,
like all the time.
you want the Millennium Falcon is the best. No, I did. Let me do a quick Lego story, and then we can
Mhm.
probably wrap if you want. But I do remember. Do you remember? I think they were called Lego Technics or Technique. I can't remember if it was Technic or Techniques, but they had like the
Yeah.
shocks and like the
Hmm.
actual steering wheels that would actually like do like the actual steering of the cars and stuff. I bought a
Yep.
few really advanced ones. Like I had a race car, I had like a rescue helicopter, and like it had like mechanical stuff where like you had like a hook thing that could like lower with a crank, and like
Oh,
you
really?
turn this other thing, like the propeller would spin. Like it was like legit mechanical Lego stuff. So that was like middle school for me. Like I was a bit older, but like those were like,
I think I had some of those as well. I think I had like a dirt bike that had
oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sprockets
Had shocks
and
on it and stuff.
shocks, and it had like
Yeah.
sprockets and a chain that
Mm-hmm.
would like run, and then it
Mm-hmm.
would turn over like the engine, and the little pistons would pop, pop,
Mm-hmm.
pop, 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 would go. And
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I think that's in my garage too in a box. Like, I think why do I hang on to this crap? I don't know, but I think I still have it.
Oh my God. Just be glad you do, because I don't know where my stuff is. Like all my toys are just kind of blowing around in the wind
Scattered.
somewhere. Yeah.
I know
So
I moved, like when I moved from Vegas to Indiana, like I packed up like a lot of this stuff, and like now that I've gone through boxes, some
yeah.
of it I'm like, oh, like wow, I've had this since I was like 14 and I'm 38. Like, and I
Yeah.
still have it. That's kind of ridiculous. But
Right.
do you remember not off topic, but I know we were just talking about GI Joes and action figures. What was this? My grandma, at my grandma's house, she had like this semi truck, and it like the cab part like opened and a ladder flipped out and like a rocket shot out of it. Like, I don't
Mask.
remember.
Mask.
Okay.
Mask. It was called Mask. It was like Mobile Assault Strike Command or something. Like I'm pretty sure that's dead on, but they spelled
Okay.
command with a K. It was called
I
Math.
had that. So I played with that at my grandma's house. I never knew what it was, but I thought it was the most badass thing. Like
Oh my God.
the wheels came off the truck and it
Okay.
turned into a car. Yeah.
You know what, dude? I just realized this is probably going to have to become like a weekly segment because we're at about 20 minutes now. And I feel like we've just barely scraped the surface of childhood toys. And I could go on for like 2 days. So let's come back to this next time. But that's our show for today. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any toys that you remember from your childhood, please like leave in the comment section. And we'd love to hear from you guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
All right. That's our show. Thanks for watching Stay at Home Dads.
You know the drill, guys. Blah, blah, blah. Hit that like button. Subscribe.
We'll catch you on the flip side.